without further ado, please give it up for Elizabeth Marberry, everyone.
Well, thank you, Dale. I so appreciate you. You're such a fantastic speaker. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. And I just want to say, I feel so cozy in this room, just hearing literally from each one of you, all of your beautiful voices. I don't usually get to experience that when I come speak. So I just already feel like I know you guys and I adore you, so thank you all for sharing your fun facts. It was really fun for me to hear all about you. Okay, so who's excited to learn about Instagram? Okay, so this is all about Reels to revenue, and I'm going to be teaching you 5 steps to land your dream wedding client on Instagram. So let's make sure you're in the right room, okay? So who is this for? This is for wedding pros who want to confidently leverage Instagram in your organic marketing strategy, meaning no paid ads. Yes? Does that sound good? Yeah. Awesome. So if you're tired of feeling overwhelmed by Instagram and you are ready to learn this thing and do it, you're in the right place. Let's do it. Okay, so during our time together, I'm going to teach you guys 3 things. You're going to learn the exact 5 steps that you need to take to attract and book, meaning convert those followers into paying clients on Instagram with 0 ad spend. I'm going to teach you a really simple strategy and secret to maximizing the content that you're already creating so you can drive leads and sales in your sleep, because I know that you are busy wedding pros, okay? And lastly, I'm going to be highlighting some top Instagram mistakes that I see wedding pros make. And spoiler alert, I've totally made all of these mistakes myself. So that's how I can teach you how to avoid them. All right. So a little disclaimer before we get into it. There is no single path to growth on Instagram, okay? So I'm going to be teaching you a simple and proven framework today, but the most important thing is this. It has to resonate with you, right? It has to feel aligned for you, your brand, and what you stand for. So I'm going to be giving you this framework, this strategy. You take what resonates with you and go implement it, because there are so many different ways to leverage this free tool in your business, and I'm going to be showing you one way to do that today, okay? So full permission to break the rules. I do it all the time. It's so fun. All right, so I want you to raise your hand if this sounds like you. Are you ready? Yes? Okay. Are you tired of spinning your wheels in the constant content creation hamster wheel with lackluster results and 0 impact to your bottom line? Okay, most of you. Maybe you know that you should post on social media, or you should post on Instagram, meaning you're shoulding all over yourself. Like totally confused as to what to post, or maybe you're posting but you're like, I don't know, I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall. Yes, a couple of you? Okay, awesome. Maybe you secretly or not so secretly hate social media, but you know, I have to use it for my business. Who's that? Yeah, okay, I see you. Or I know some of you are in this room. Maybe your Insta strategy hasn't changed in the last 3 to 5 years, and you're still kind of doing the same thing, and it's not really working, and you're so pissed off that the algorithm keeps changing. Like, what the heck? Okay, yes? Anyone? Okay. And lastly, you proclaim from the rooftops, I have no time for Instagram. I'm running my business. Okay, all right. So you might have thought these thoughts, or maybe these are just kind of rumors that you've heard. And I really do want to hear from you guys if these are things that you've heard. That you have to post multiple times a day to grow on Instagram. Who's heard that? That you have to essentially constantly be posting. That you have to spend hours engaging with other accounts every day. Have you heard that one? Okay. What about you have to have a big, massive following, and the more followers you have, the more money you're going to make? Have you heard that? Okay. What about every post, and I feel like with wedding pros, this one just on the nose. It has to be perfectly planned and curated, and you just hold on to that content because it's not quite right, it's not quite perfect, and you have to make sure it's perfect before you post it. I see a hand. Okay, yeah. All right. And lastly, Instagram is all about the trends, and so if you're behind the trends, like, why even try? Is there even a point? Have you heard that? Yes. Okay. Fabulous. So the truth is that those are all Instagram myths that are holding you back. The real problem is that no one has taught you a simple and proven strategy to make Instagram fun again and more effective for your business. And that's what we're going to be doing today. Are you ready? Yes. Okay. So this is why I was like, I don't need to share my fun facts. They're right here on this slide. So quickly, I will introduce myself again. I'm Elizabeth Marberry. I am an Instagram marketing strategist for creative entrepreneurs and small business owners like yourself. I am a podcaster for Strut It, Build Visibility through Instagram marketing. I loved glazed donuts. In fact, at my wedding, I refused to have cake and I had to have donuts at my wedding. And my mother-in-law was so mad. And I was like, I'm doing what I want. Okay. I'm a former professional dancer. I'm a mother of 2 kids. I have a 3rd grader and 8-year-old. So you and I are in the same boat. And I also have an 11-year-old who's in 6th grade. I am happily married for 15 years, and I'm the proud owner and CEO of a dance studio, a brick and mortar dance studio down in Denver called Wedding Dance Coach. We do private first dance lessons for couples who are getting married. They want to avoid that awkward middle school sway and oh God, everyone's looking at us. And they come in and we do custom choreography for them. So we have a Denver studio, and thanks to our social media, we now have a virtual studio where we work with couples all over the world. We've danced with couples in the UK, Australia. It's pretty magical. And as you've heard, I've grown my company's social media influence to over 120,000 account followers. And I have to tell you guys, I seriously have not always been this social media savvy at all. For the first decade of growing my business, let's just rewind for a minute. Because I've been in the business for 15 years. When we first started, this wasn't even a thing, right? You didn't need it. It wasn't a requirement. It wasn't even around, right? So in the first 10 years, I focused on SEO. My number one goal was to get on the first page of Google purely organically. And we did that. I went after reviews like it was no one's business, okay? I was just going after those reviews, word of mouth, referrals, and all of that got me to my first 6 figures with 0 social media. I didn't even need social media at that point. I didn't have a lead generation problem. My studio was booked solid, but I am a very ambitious business owner. I can tell so many of you are as creatives, and I knew I was just scratching the surface of what was possible for my business and my company's growth. So I made the decision, and I really want to highlight the word decision because it is a choice, right? You don't have to be on Instagram, but I made a choice, a very intentional choice, to go all in on our social media marketing efforts. And at this time, get ready for it, I had 650 followers on Instagram. I was famous. And I did not have a TikTok account because I was like, that is just for teenagers dancing in their basement. I am a professional woman. I am not going to get on some TikTok, right? Okay, so a fail forward. Okay, there was a lot of failing forward as I made this decision to go all in. And this is where I'm going to really talk about the mistakes. And then as we dive into the steps, you're going to learn how to avoid them. So some top mistakes are falling into the perfectionism trap. Definitely overthinking will kill your creativity. And that's true on Instagram. It's true in business. It's true in life, right? So overthinking, falling into perfectionism. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that I made, and I see a lot of wedding pros make on Instagram right now. And that is my feed. If you went to my feed, it looks like this gorgeous magazine of all of my past clients and all of my past work, right? That doesn't work on Instagram anymore, and I'm going to explain why. But the short answer is, it's not about our prospective clients we're trying to pull in, it's just showcasing our past clients. So I'm going to teach you how to leverage the content that you already have with your current clients and use it to magnetize those newer clients into your field. But my feed was just all about me, like, and meaning, look at my product, look at my service, isn't it great? Don't you like our facilities? Like, that's me content, right? Lacking consistency, so not showing up. It's kind of like if you're dating someone and they text you, or you text them and you're like, oh, I love it, like, let's get together, and you don't hear from them for 3 weeks, and then they finally get back to you. Do you trust them? Do you know them? Do you like them? No, you don't. It's the same thing with social media. If you decide to show up, you need to show up consistently, and that could be twice a week. It doesn't have to be every day, but lacking consistency. Not having a strategy to convert followers to clients. Some of us get stuck in trying to grow our followings, but then we have no strategy. And oftentimes, my clients, there's this underlying fear of being judged. What are people going to think of me? What are my competitors going to think? Am I going to give away too much? Like, we really, again, it kind of goes into that overthinking. Not using keywords in your content. Targeting everyone, so targeting all engaged couples instead of your ideal engaged couple. Not every single engaged couple cares about yoga, but there are engaged couples that do, and that's your target market, right? So you can't just say it's for everyone, right? Not collaborating with other wedding pros, not tagging other pros in your posts, being on too many social media platforms. Who has ever felt that way, where you're just like, I'm kind of posting in all these different places, but I'm just feeling really spread thin? Yes, absolutely. I've totally done that. And that makes you feel so overwhelmed. And it also makes you feel like, gosh, I'm just not showing up well anywhere. So that's a mistake. You don't actually have to be on all the platforms. And then not leveraging short form video, which we're going to get into. So for the next year, we showed up consistently. We posted a reel every single day, 1 reel a day for a year. I provided a lot of value, which I'm going to teach you exactly what that means. I leverage reels, and I used a simple strategy to convert followers into paying clients, which you will learn today. And these were our results. We grew our following to over 120K on Instagram and TikTok. I packed my email list with over 5,000 hot prospects. So these were engaged couples who are getting married in the next 12 months. And I boosted my revenue by 84% in those 12 months. So it was pretty epic, and I just want to say that explosive growth like this is absolutely possible for you too. All right, so let's get into the 5 steps. The first step is optimize your profile on Instagram to attract your ideal client. So the data tells us that when I'm on Instagram and I'm scrolling, and by the way, this presentation is all about Instagram, but everything I'm teaching you here can be applied to every other social platform, right? Because every other social platform, you have a home page, right? So take this in and kind of filter it through depending on what platform you're playing on, even if you're not on Instagram. So people decide within 5 to 7 seconds if they're gonna follow us. So here's how it works on Instagram. I'm scrolling on my feed. Maybe I see one of your awesome videos or photos. I go click on your profile, and then I go look at your bio, and I decide very quickly within that snapshot of your recent 9 posts and your bio if I'm gonna give you the follow or not. Okay, so it's really important, because if you're going to put in all this effort to create content, don't you want that first step to be done, right? Because if you create a great piece of content, I go to your bio and your bio reads like a resume or something, I'm not going to give you the follow. I don't want to follow you. So in order, before we optimize your bio, which I'm going to teach you, we're going to go through each step today. You have to know your ideal client. And I'm sure you guys have heard this so many times, but the more specific and clear you can be with who you're trying to call in, the better. And so one of my favorite ways of doing target market research for my clients is I think about who your favorite client has been in the past. Like, I'm sure you all have worked with a couple that you were like, oh, they were a dream to work with, right? Like, if I could have 10 more Sally and Morgans, I would just be living life. Like, this is fantastic. So I want you to think about them. And it's not just the demographics and their budget and all that. It goes so much deeper than that, right? It's the vision, it's the vibe, it's the personality, it's their communication style. You as owners get to set the standards for your company, okay? So you don't need to lower yourself down here. When you're really identifying who your ideal client is, like, be specific, really get into the nitty-gritty. There's so many other ways to do target market research. I have a whole podcast episode if you feel a little bit stuck on that, but the bottom line is you need to know your ideal client. You need to know what their challenges are. What are their struggles? What keeps them up at night? What are they fighting about with their fiance, right? What do they desire? What do they want? Why do they want that, right? So you just have to spend a little bit of time. This is that step that we all skip over because we're just like, oh, it's like the unsexy part of marketing, I feel like. But once you're clear on your target market, everything else becomes so much easier. Okay, so once you know who your ideal client is, now we are going to go into the very practical steps of how to refresh your bio. Now, I do want to I want to tell you that at the end of this presentation, I have a free Instagram bio refresh guide. So feel free to take notes right now. I love learning by writing and all of that, but just know that if you don't get it all down, don't stress. I have a very detailed guide with questions to ask yourself so you can really dial in your bio, okay? Okay, so I'm going to move over here. So the profile picture is this little circle up here. Now, generally speaking, people buy people, not logos, okay? So one mistake I see on Instagram is companies put their logo up there, but as you can tell, it's a very small piece of real estate on the screen. So if you do choose to put a logo up there, I really recommend that you just make sure that it's actually formatted and optimized for that circle. You'd be amazed at how many times it's not. For us, we decided to use our clients because, again, I think on Instagram, people are going on there to connect with other people. So the more that you can show faces or people interacting with your products or services, the better. The second thing I need you to do is check out your username and name field. So this is new on Instagram. Both of these, so your username's up there, Wedding Dance Coach. Right here is the name field. Those two spots on Instagram now are SEO. They are search engine optimized. So meaning you want to make sure that you put a lot of keywords in there. Instagram used to not have a great SEO. That's why, do you guys remember like 5 years ago, like hashtags were like everything? They don't matter as much now because Instagram has finally understood how to update their app to really leverage SEO. So these two fields need to include keywords that your ideal people are searching for. And the more specific you can be, the better, okay? So not just like wedding photography, but Estes Park wedding photography for blank, for same-sex couples, or like the more specific you can be, the better with who you're calling out, okay. The first line of your bio, so this is another spot that I see a lot of confusion. Your first line of your bio needs to state what you post about and who it's for. Too many times I see this line and it's like, look at us, we won all these awards and we're the best, and you know, it's like all about me. For me, so this is how Instagram is totally shifted, is this needs to be, why am I gonna give you the follow? What's in it for me, right? I'm getting married this year. What are you gonna teach me on your feed? Too many of us are posting for our past clients. What about the new people who haven't found you, who don't know who you are? So this line really needs to, you need to just think about like, what kind of content do I want to create? And so ours is helping nervous non-dancers and madly in love couples rock their first dance. If you look at our feed, it's all tips about that. That's literally the kind of content that we create, okay? So that's your first line of your bio. And The fourth step is, I don't have it on this profile here, but you have an optional credibility line. So that's where you can say like, as seen in Vogue, or, 20 plus years as an officiant, or something like that. That's totally okay to do. But I just don't recommend having that be like what you lead with, because remember, you always want to make it about them and less about you, because that's what people care about. They want to know what's in it for them. All right, so then finally you need a clear call to action, because they need to know what to do next. So we're going to talk about this more, but for us, we have a lead magnet called a free first dance checklist. That's how I got over 5,000 people on our email list. They wanted that, and so they click that link and they get it. So if you have a freebie, or maybe you don't have a freebie and an email list, but you do have a calendar where people can book a sales call with you or something like that, you could put that up there. So those are the 5 steps. And I did forget to mention at the end, I will be taking questions. So as questions pop into your brain, just save them in there, because I definitely want to make sure I answer all your questions. Okay, I want to show you a quick example. I'm such a visual person, so thank you so much for providing this giant TV for us to look at. So this is one of my private clients that I worked with. You can see this is her bio before, this is her bio after. So I want to give you guys some really clear examples of how I would update your bio. So you can see up here, she had Denver makeup artist and hairstylist. I just kind of rearranged the wording so it just made more sense and it flowed much better. Now, if your threads handle is showing, you need to hide that, okay? You need to think about that you have a very precious amount of real estate on the screen. It just kills me when I see people's thread handles showing, because when you go to someone's bio, you can only see the top like 3 or 4 lines. So hide your threads handle. You don't need that. She also had her category of entrepreneur showing. You can hide that. Okay, it's not that you're deleting your category, you're just hiding it. We don't need to see that out here. Now, but her before bio, it's really interesting. So she had, for the elevated modern bride, specialize in enhancing your natural beauty. I said to her, what the heck is an elevated modern bride? Right? Like, what is that? I don't even know what that is. So during this session, it was really neat, because I was able to talk to her about there are hundreds of hair and makeup people, okay? What makes you different? Like, why would I pick you? And so that's where she got to really dig deep into, well, Elizabeth, this is the work I do. Because she doesn't do everyone's hair and makeup, right? Like, she has a very specific style. So look at what we changed it to. Soft, glam, and natural makeup for the modern bride. You can picture what that is, right? Hollywood waves, boho, and romantic hairstyles. Do you hear how specific that is? Then we changed her call to action, free bridal beauty consult. So very clear call to action. After we had this session, she, with this newfound clarity, and I know this seems like such small stuff, right? Like your Instagram bio, like who cares? But when she had this clarity of who she was speaking to in her messaging, she created a reel, it went viral, and in 6 hours, she had 10 leads come in, okay? So that is the power of having an optimized bio. It's such a big deal, and I love bios. They're so fun. I know, I'm a dork. Okay, so you have your bio, you know who you're talking to, your bio's optimized. Let's talk about content, yes?
Yes.
Okay, are you still with me? Okay. Did I lose you at bio? No. All right, so content strategy, don't overcomplicate it. I know, like, even for me, sometimes when people say content strategy, I'm just like, I almost like zone out. I'm like, oh, it's too much. Okay, content strategy is actually so simple. It's all about helping your ideal people that you want to work with feel seen, heard, helped, and understood. That's all we want at the end of the day, right? That's why that old school promotional content of like, book a session for 50% off, like that doesn't work anymore, okay? It doesn't work, okay? You have to create attraction style content where it's like, I see you, I feel you, oh my gosh, right? That's what's gonna activate our ideal clients. That's how you're gonna stand out in a crowded marketplace. So, master the 3 E's for Elizabeth, the 3 E's of content that converts. So educational is simply just teach them something new, okay? Teach me something new. I've seen some reels go viral lately where it's like, you know, tips for your rehearsal dinner, or if you have, you know, this many guests, this is an ideal timeline if you're wanting this. Like, the more specific you can be with what you're calling out, and you all have your own expertise, right? Like, you all are such experts in what you do. So you have to really dig into, like, what are the most commonly asked questions that like, if someone was calling you to ask you about trolleys, I'm sure you get the same 10 questions, right? Do you not? All of those questions you need to make videos, okay? Over and over and over with different backgrounds, different hooks. But I'm telling you, this is why we make Instagram so hard. And I'm like, it's not that hard. You just have to answer the questions of your ideal clients, okay? If you're ever stuck, just go on Google, type in your niche as specific as possible. Google will show you the list of the most frequently asked questions, okay? There's so many tools that you can use. You can use ChatGPT now to do target market research, right? If you're ever like, type in every single detail about who you work with, what you do, what are the top 10 pain points of my ideal client? What are their top 10 desires? And right from there, that you'll have 20 different ideas for content. So educational content, emotional content taps into feelings. Make me feel something, right? Motivate me, inspire me. I saw a reel this morning that is going viral right now that I thought was really neat. And it's, you know, of course, a beautiful video. And I think it just said, like, 2025 brides, you only have 10 Fridays until it's your wedding year, right? Like, think about that, though. If you're a 2025 bride, you're just like, oh my God, it's almost my year. Woo! You know, like, but people love that, you know? So that's the type of thing of, like, just tapping into emotion, entertainment, keep it light and relatable. Don't forget that people come on these apps, and I feel like you guys are these people. They come on these apps to just unplug, right? Like, it's not like you're going on Instagram to get an MBA or anything like that. You just want to be entertained. You want to laugh. Like, my husband sends me things in our DMs all the time where I'm just like, oh my God, there's 200,000 other couples like us. Like, where it's like that relatable content where you're just like, what? Like, so the more you can create those relatable memes are doing really well on Instagram right now, where you can just, bring in the humor, like wedding planning stress. The more you can be really specific, the better. But you want that content that someone's like, oh my gosh, he sees me, he gets me. I'm going to share this with my partner. This is totally epic. Okay. So that's what I mean when I say prioritize value in every post. That's really what value is. It's teaching me something new. It's making me laugh. It's entertaining me. Avoid gatekeeping. So this is one of our posts that blew up recently, and we do these actually all the time. So if you go to my feed, you'll see that we do these quite a bit because they work. That's the coolest thing, is once you start finding something that works for your audience and for you as a creator, you can do it over and over again. But in this one, we show a first dance entrance that you could easily do and learn off of our video. And a lot of business owners, I think, are hesitant to kind of share too much with people because they're just like, well, that's what my paying clients pay for, right? So you might ask me, Elizabeth, people pay, your company to choreograph their dance. Why would you give them a chunk, like 20% of their dance already done for them? They could just learn this off of video. But the answer is that I can give you a first dance entrance, but are you going to be able to choreograph your whole dance from this one video? Absolutely not. You're still going to need to come in and hire us if that's what you want to do, right? But every time you can really add value like this, it really builds that know, like, and trust factor of like, hey, Mike totally knows what he's talking about. He's like the go-to person for this thing. Like, if you need this, you go see Mike, right? So it really boosts that know, like, and trust factor. So I would really advise you to avoid gatekeeping as much as you can. All right, so just a quick little explanation of how the Instagram algorithm works, if you're not familiar with how it works, is I'm sure you've heard the buzz around engagement. So we always talk about like create content that people are going to want to engage with. So what is engagement? Engagement is likes, comments, saves, shares, anything where people are interacting with your content, views. Why is that important? Why is that important? It's important because the way the algorithm works is, let's say I create a piece of content and Danny watches it and she's like, oh, I love this. I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna comment on it. The next time Danny logs into Instagram is going to show Danny more of my content. And I'm sure this has happened to all of you before. Like if you've ever binged on like a dog video and you're like, oh, it's so cute. And then the next time you go onto Instagram, it's like all you see is dog videos. And you're like, what the heck? Like I don't just want to see dog videos. But you have to remember that Instagram makes money by people consuming content and staying on their app. They are a business just like we are, okay? So they want people to be on the app as much as possible, and so the algorithm's job is essentially just to curate the content that you're shown, okay? So if you like it, and here's what's cool about our industry, is in the wedding market, if you get a bunch of engaged couples liking and commenting, what starts to happen is the algorithm not only will show them your content, it will show your content to their friends and the people that they interact with. And we all know that engaged couples are friends with a lot of other engaged couples, right? So that's why when we talk about like, you know, driving likes or driving comments, it's not about vanity metrics. It really isn't. It's just about, if you're going to create a piece of content, marketing content for your business, you want it to be seen. How do you get it seen? You drive engagement. I hope that makes sense. So one question I ask myself before I post any piece of content is I put myself in my ideal client's shoes and I look at it and I say, is this so helpful that I want to save it? Is this so funny that I would want to send it to someone? Is it so like, I'm like really, standing my ground on I have like a strong opinion in the industry and I don't care what anyone says, I'm going to say it. Is it going to make people want to comment? Is it going to make people want to engage? If you ask yourself that question, you're like, I don't know, I don't think anyone would care. Then don't post it, right? That's where you can really, and you'd be amazed at, once you ask yourself that question, it's usually just tweaking a little bit of the messaging. It's not like wiping out the whole concept. It's usually just removing a few words and moving your messaging around a little bit. But I find that question is really helpful. Okay, so we have optimized your profile. We have talked about content strategy. Now let's get even deeper into content. What kind of content should you be posting? I recommend that you prioritize reels. And here is why. In the wedding industry, you guys know this, you don't need me to tell you, every year we have a new crop of people, right? So we're constantly needing to call in new prospects. Now on Instagram, carousels, do you guys all know what carousels are? So carousels are on Instagram and it's like a slideshow of pictures, or now you can add videos to those carousels. Instagram in the last 2 weeks just released this new announcement that carousels now, if you add music, will be shown on the Reels feed. And why that's really cool is that means that now with your photo carousels, I'm thinking about like all the photographers in the room, if you add music, those can be pushed out to the Reels feed and be shown to more people, meaning the people who don't already follow you, so you can start to attract those new eyeballs, okay? So that's a really cool new thing that just happened, but even with that information, because I follow the data and I read all of the studies, Reels still receive the highest reach and engagement over all other forms of content on the platform. So if you want to grow your following, you want to grow your audience, and you want to attract new client prospects, you definitely spend 80% of your content creation time on Reels, okay? Quick Reels pro tips, be consistent. We're playing the long game. Consistency is actually, here's how I think of consistency, because I think sometimes we think of consistency as like, it's like hard work. It's like pushing ourselves through it. But I love consistency because it's like going to the gym and working out, okay? which by the way, I never do. I never lift weights. It's funny that I tell this story. But so if you're going to the gym and you're lifting weights, at the beginning you're like, oh God, I suck at this. Like I can only do a 5-pound dumbbell. Like, oh, I'm so sore. But what happens? The more reps, the stronger you get. Consistency not only is a smart marketing move, that's how you're going to be successful. You don't talk about yoga in Estes Park one time. You talk about it like 3 times a week for a full year, and then your people find you, okay? That's what I mean about playing the long game. Gone are the days of like you just blow up overnight on Instagram, okay? Is it possible? Sure, it could be possible, but it's unlikely. So you have to really be in it for the long game. But I want you to have the mindset of as you create, you guys are all like creators, it gets so much easier to create these videos. It gets so much more fun and you get better at it, and then the higher quality, your content quality goes up, and then your success rate goes up too. So that's why I'm always kind of like, the consistency is really, really important, and having that mindset of the long game. Bring value, we already talked about that, and be yourself. So authenticity wins. So about 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm sure you all remember this, and maybe some of you miss these days, and I don't blame you. I was never like on the Instagram bandwagon during this time, but do you remember when the grid on Instagram had to be like perfectly curated? Like it had to be like color coded and just like aesthetically pleasing and gorgeous. So those days are gone. Now on Instagram, what wins is authenticity, meaning the raw stuff, the behind the scenes footage. People are so desperate to connect human to human, and honestly, that is your it factor. That's how you're gonna stand out on Instagram, is the more you can be real and you can show that like unedited raw footage, and you can tell stories behind your business, you can connect with your people. That is the content that does well. So I want you to really give yourself permission to like post your flawed stuff, like post your behind the scenes stuff that like you're just like, oh my God. I'm telling you, that's the content that actually does the best on Instagram, because people just want to connect with other people. They really want to know the energetic and the mindset and the beliefs and all of that behind the brands. This generation who's getting married, they care so much about like who these people are, what do they stand for. So the more you can just share whatever feels comfortable and aligned for you, the better. Okay, so a simple reel formula, if you're new to creating reels, I just want to teach you this one formula. It's hook, value, call to action. So on every reel that you create, you need to have a hook. There can be a visual hook, meaning something on camera that you're seeing, or it can be text on screen. I try to always do both. So in this reel, our hook was steal the spin and dip for your first dance, so that captures their attention. We all know this, everyone's attention spans are shorter than ever. I hate it, but it's true. So you really have to capture people's attention spans. You have to think about the consumer. They're just scrolling on Instagram, so you have to have a visually compelling hook. And then from there, you essentially deliver on the promise of the hook. So in this video, our value was us showcasing the spin and the dip. So we didn't have any text on the screen here. It was just showcasing the move that we said we were going to do. But you can also give value with text on the screen as well. And then a call to action. So tag your fiance so they know you want to try it. A lot of times people won't take action unless you tell them what to do. I know it sounds crazy. It's like so annoying, but they really won't. So the more you can really tag your fiance, save if this was helpful, follow for more wedding day tips for X, Y, and Z, right? People will do it because otherwise they'll just see it and they'll be like, what a great video. And then they just like keep moving forward, okay? One other thing to say, the call to action can also be at this top line of your caption down here. I've been seeing a lot of, with Instagram and like wedding pros specifically, because you guys have such beautiful aesthetics, a lot of people don't want to put their call to action like this on their screen. So if you're in that boat, then I definitely recommend using that top line of caption. So you have your bio, you have your content strategy, you have all the followers. Now what? How do we actually convert these followers into paying clients? So I want you to think of Instagram as a funnel, as the top of your funnel. So Instagram is the first step of your marketing process, which is really just to attract. So it's your free content that is attracting new eyeballs into your space. The next step is nurturing them through, if you have an email list. I would love to see a show of hands. Who has an email list? Yes. Okay, like almost half, or like a fourth, a half, I don't know. That's great. So nurturing through email, DM conversations, or consults. Who does sales consults? Okay, awesome. So obviously a consult, you haven't closed the deal yet. So nurturing is just having that conversation and really deepening the relationship with your prospects. And then the final step is conversion to a paying client. So it's very important that you just think through how, let's say I'm on your Instagram right now and I want to work with you. What do? I can't tell you how many wedding pros are just like, I just like the link in my bio, I guess. And I'm like, but why? But then I have to stop what I'm doing and go, no. You have to really be a little bit more strategic about it. So you don't own Instagram, right? You don't own your followers. If Instagram goes down tomorrow, you don't want all your eggs in one basket here. So you need to really think about how you get your biggest fans off of Instagram and into a sphere that you actually own. There's lots of different ways of doing it. I'm going to show you one way, which is to create a lead magnet to drive conversions. These actually work really, really well, and you'd be amazed at how easy they are to create. Like, I'm just thinking about Estes Park. You could create a whole Estes Park wedding guide, like the top 10 places in Estes Park to visit. Even if you're a photographer, it doesn't matter. It's solving a problem for your ideal client. If I'm doing a destination wedding and I'm coming here, what are the questions in my head? Where should I stay? Right? So you could just create a simple PDF. I'm telling you, these things do not take a ton of time. But essentially, you create a freebie that your ideal client wants, and then you have a landing page. So this is our landing page. You can see it's very short and easy. They type in their name. We also segment our list. So if you're in a business where you offer different things, you can segment your list where people click on different things, and then your email, you can kind of put them in different boats, and that works really well for marketing campaigns. So you could do more targeted stuff. So here is the magic. This is like the magic bullet, I feel like, for busy wedding professionals, which is using DM automation. Is anyone in the room currently using DM automation on Instagram?
The Estes Park Wedding Association is.
You are? Okay. So I want to do an experiment right now. So everybody open up Instagram, and I want you to go to my page on Instagram, which is just my name, Elizabeth Marberry. And this is a little bit of a ploy for you to follow me. I'm going to tell you. No, but really, I'm going to show you exactly how this works. So go to Elizabeth Marberry. Does everyone see me? Okay, so once you're there, follow so you'll get the message. So go into my direct messages, like you're gonna send me a message on Instagram, and I want you to DM me this word leads, Leads. DM me the word leads, and tell me if you get a little message from my sexy robot assistant. She's very attractive. Did you get it? Awesome. So you can see if you click that link, so click the link, it will take you to my landing page. Now this is a free DM automation guide that I wanted to give to you because I think that all of you need to be using DM automation. It is the absolute best way to drive sales and leads in your sleep. And how it works is exactly what you just did, where you can message someone. But for those of you who are creating content, what you do is, let's say, so like what would be your, like if I want to work with you and I'm on your Instagram, like where do I go? Do I book a call with you? Like what do you want me to do?
Just go to my contact and fill out the contact page.
Okay, so here's my only issue with that. Because most wedding pros do that. I used to always do that, where I'd send people to my contact page. You have no way of capturing their information if they don't finish filling it out. So that's the only reason why I might suggest, even if it was a contact page, make it like a landing page where they get like what's in it for them. Like, you get this free photography consult where I will help you do X, Y, and Z. It's almost like selling a sales call. This is just an idea. But the idea is you want to capture the people's name and their email so that way you can follow up with them as soon as possible, right? So let's say, Joe? Let's say Joe posts a piece of content just like he normally would. Then he's going to tell people to comment a specific keyword on that post. So let's say it's a photo. So comment photo, and I'll send you the direct link to grab your free photo session, where our photography consult session, where we are going to sit down and you're going to walk away with the next 3 steps. You can identify exactly what your photography vision is for your day, because maybe they don't even know their vision yet, right? So do you see how I'm kind of like sexing up the sales call a little bit? Like, okay. So I comment this keyword, and then the DM automation goes straight to the client. So this is, I'm telling you, such a key, and it works so beautifully on Instagram. And this is totally approved by Meta. I use ManyChat. In the guide that you download, I explain exactly how I use it. But it's a Meta business partner, so you won't be penalized for using this. So we can go into that more later, but I want to show you a visual of what it looks like. So this was that post I showed you earlier, and we said you want more ideas for your first dance, comment checklist below. And then you can set it up where people comment checklist, or they just DM you the word checklist. So this person DM'd us checklist. They get this automation. And then I can already feel some of you are like, this isn't very personal. Does anyone worry about that? No?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so how we handle that is, you can see who your automation sent messages to. What I do, it's just part of my daily marketing tasks. I go through my direct messages and I send people voice notes. And I'm like, hey, Joe, I hope you enjoyed the free first dance checklist. When is your wedding? And I'm telling you, that's how you get clients come from conversations, right? So you can send voice memos. You can see that with Angelica here, we followed up with a DM. So you absolutely can add the person-to-person contact with this DM automation strategy. So I hope that you guys will look into that. All right, the last step is get social on social media. So don't make it a monologue, make it a conversation. Don't post and ghost, okay? How many of us post and ghost? Like, you're like, I'm done, bye, right? So what you want to do is, it's honestly 3 simple things. Respond to all comments. I stalk some of you guys, and you guys have comments on your post that you just ignore those people. They made an effort to comment on your post. Like, respond. Like, be a person, okay? Be a person. Respond to DMs, check your request folder. We get a lot of, if someone doesn't follow you, which a lot of our potential clients aren't going to follow us, they're just going to message us. If it's going to go into your like spam request folder. So make sure you check that. And of course, ask lots of questions, get really curious about your audience, because that's how you're going to create the best content that's going to resonate with them. And lastly, collaborate with other wedding pros. So you guys are already like, I can tell you all have this like beautiful synergy together as a group. Think about 2 other vendors in this room that you work with, that you love. Do an Instagram live with them. Talk about wedding planning tips, for each of your niches. Do a reel, collaborate on a reel together. There's so many different ways that you can use this platform to put yourself in front of, to essentially share audiences, right? Because we all have similar audiences. So really being mindful of just taking full advantage of the power of this tool in the palm of your hand. To close, I just want to tell a really short story. Zach has already heard the story. I'm so sorry, Zach. You have to hear it again. But just over a year ago, I had a phone call to my business line, and it was like it was like a weird area code. So I was just like, straight to voicemail. I listened to the voicemail. They're like, "Hi, Elizabeth," and it was this beautiful British accent. I won't botch the British accent. My husband hates when I do that. He's like, "That's embarrassing." But they left this voicemail, and they were just like, "This is, the executive producer from This Morning show in the UK, and we were wondering if we could interview you for a segment around first dances. And I was just like, what? That's insane. So I called them back, and it was an actual real thing. So this show is called This Morning. It's the biggest morning show in the UK with millions and millions of viewers. I was invited to be interviewed. They were going to fly me out to the UK for this interview, and they were going to pay me for the interview to talk about my business, you guys. Like, this is insane. Of course, my husband was traveling that week because, of course, they were like, can you come tomorrow or something like that? And I have children, so I'm like, absolutely not. I can't do that. Okay, no worries. We'll send a film crew to your studio. You need to be there at 1 a.m. You're going live at like 2:15 a.m. And I'm like, oh my God, I am not a morning person. Like, this is not good in the morning. But I did it. I was like, you know, that's my studio. And I share this story with you because obviously Instagram, this whole conversation has been about growing our businesses on Instagram. But what I want to remind you of is there's so much potential and possibility with this platform to reach people all over the world. There is potential and possibilities that you can't even imagine when you start playing in this field consistently, okay? So if you decide to go for it, I want to really encourage you to experiment, test, and remember that you learn by doing. So don't overthink, don't research too much, just get into motion, get into creation, and you will really start to attract your ideal dreamboat wedding client on Instagram. This is my free gift to you if you want to get your phone out and open up your camera app. This is a much more detailed guide as to how to edit your Instagram bio, and I ask you a bunch of questions so you really understand how to use keywords and, you know, really get that working like a magnet for your ideal clients. I'm going to leave that up there so you guys can take a picture of it before I go to my contact slide, but I would love to open it up to any Q&A. So what questions do you guys have? Yes.
Hey, I had a question with the, when you went and clicked that's a web page it sent you to, and you can make the link in the DMs? Because that's one of the
Yes.
problems with Instagram is get the one link.
Yes. So I use ManyChat for my DM automation, which when you opt into it, I include that link in the guide that you download.
ManyChat's the way you can.
Yes. So so you essentially set it up in ManyChat, and you can have it where the DM automation is triggered from either one post, like you can pick a specific post, or what I usually do is I just have it be all of my posts because I'm very strategic. I only use certain keywords over and over and over again. And so then in ManyChat, you can link it to whatever website link you want. So you could web it to a specific website page or a landing page. And one of my clients this week was like, what's the difference between a landing page and a web page? A landing page is a web page, so I know it's confusing, but a landing page is just a page with no other buttons. So, you know, when you can think of a website, there's like 50 choices, right? Like there's the top line, you can click on that. There's the drop down. A landing page, there's no distraction for the consumer. They come on with the purpose of one thing. There's very minimal text. They just put in their name, their email, send it to me, I want it. And you get their information right away. So it's really powerful. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay, cool. What else? Yes.
Why are you on TikTok? I guess.
Yeah.
TikTok.
I didn't talk about TikTok. So I have a very lazy TikTok strategy. My TikTok strategy is essentially I repurpose a lot of my Instagram reels for TikTok. So pro tip, when you're creating reels on Instagram, make sure that you save, there's a little downward arrow up in the top right corner, save your edited reel to your camera roll before you post it on Instagram. You always want to own your own stuff anyways, right? You don't want it to only live on these platforms. So I have my content in my camera roll, then I open up my TikTok, I select that video, and usually I have to pick a different audio because there's different like trending audios and stuff. And then I just pick an audio, and then the game is a little bit different over there on TikTok. It's actually Very simple. It's like no one reads the captions. You don't even have to write a caption. You can just be like, follow for more, and 5 hashtags, and bam, you're done. So the main difference, though, I just want to say from a strategy standpoint is TikTok is a lot of that like educational content that we would create would do well over there, but anything that's very like, I would have to know you to engage with it won't do well. It's a total cold audience over there. Yeah.
Is there a difference in the couples that you're getting from Instagram versus TikTok?
What I will tell you is the conversion rate, like if you want to make money with your content, it's on Instagram, like for sure. I want to say like, of our Instagram, TikTok leads, like 90% of them are from Instagram and 10% are from TikTok. So people are finding us on TikTok, but a lot of them are coming, like the buyers are coming from Instagram. So I think with TikTok, it is one of those things of like, it's much easier to grow on TikTok, like much easier. So in a way it's good because like the younger generation, they want to see how many followers you have. They want to see that you're everywhere. So it's good for brand visibility, but in terms of conversions, like actually making money, and it's actually not set up like Instagram. You can't use DM automation over there. People consume the app so differently. They're not going to the link in your TikTok as much as they are on Instagram. So it's just the user, they just consume the content differently. Does that make sense?
Do you get a lot more hits on TikTok though? I find to get like, if I do a reel, I'll get like 1,000 or something on TikTok. I'm like, oh my God, but then I have nothing that actually comes from it. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes, yeah. It's easier to have a video get more views on TikTok, for sure. Yeah, it is. And it's interesting, I've had some videos that have gone viral over on Instagram, and I put them on TikTok, and they don't do well, and then I've had videos that I do on Instagram that I'm like, it didn't do well, and then I posted on TikTok, and they've gone viral. So that's why I'm just like, you guys, just, what do you have to lose? Just put it everywhere and, you know, see what happens. What other questions? Zach?
What about Meta Verified?
Yes, Meta Verified. I pay for it. It's interesting. I pay for it for my personal brand account, but not for my wedding dance account, because when they first released it, you had to like put in your driver's license, and it had to be like a person and not a company. But I know now companies do it. I haven't done it. I mean, it's kind of hit or miss. I will tell you, because I play on Instagram all the time, I take note of the people with the blue check because I know they're paying for it and they're more invested in the platform. You do get better tech support. So I've had like phone calls with Instagram when I was having some challenges. So that is a bonus, but there's not a ton of bonuses, honestly. But it's also only $15 a month. So ManyChat, the DM automation, is also $15 a month. Really affordable. Yeah, you had a quick question.
Yeah, so if you put some effort into a post and it's like kind of dead and nobody sees it,
Yeah.
do you rehash it again eventually, or just kind of move on?
Oh my gosh.
If you don't have limitless energy or time for making posts, but you make a good one, but it just doesn't get seen by you.
Yeah, absolutely. If you make a post and it doesn't get seen, it's because the hook wasn't strong enough. Right? Because I'm sure you're a fantastic photographer, it's visually appealing. So it could just be that you're not playing the game right. You have to always be creating content, you know. So that's what I always look at.
Is make it mean that your content sucks versus like, oh, I better try again some other time. Or?
I understand what you're asking. Yes, I would not. The only time I would do that, like repost the exact same piece of content that didn't do well, would be if it was like on an election day when I know most people are probably not consuming the content, or something weird happened, Instagram glitched for a day and I just posted my content and no one saw it, then I might post it again. But if you post a piece of content and it's not doing well, you need to make it better before you post it again. Otherwise, it's kind of a waste of time. Yeah. Okay, we gotta wrap it up. Thank you guys. Oh, one more. One more.
I have chaired the membership committee before, and
yes.
I've been a long time member of the committee.
Yes.
Would you be interested in having a chat about being an Estes Park Wedding Association member?
Oh my gosh, he's trying to court me publicly. I mean, let's talk about that in private, sir. All right, thank you guys all so much. Appreciate it.